You guys have said, you got to see this video, Craig. So we're going to watch it. It's called Jason Schreier is Why We Have Woke Games. It's from AndyPants Gaming. Put a link to the full video down in the description. Let's see what happens.
What's going on, guys? So I recently saw that everybody's favorite game journalist, Jason Schreier, has started a YouTube channel, and it's actually getting pretty popular. And I was baffled because it made me wonder, like, do y'all not know that this guy is literally why we have wokeness in games? So I call him a lying gay Jew because that is what he is. By definition, he lies. Gayness is his sexual orientation, and he is Jewish by nationality and by birth.
Isn't it amazing? Like, it's not hate speech, but it's literally what someone is. Yes, he is. It's on the surface. You put those three words together and you're like, oh, you know, but yes, strictly speaking, he's actually 100% right. They're just words put in correlation, boom, 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 right back to each other. This is a video I pulled up because I knew we were going to talk about it. Jason Schreier sounds exactly how you'd expect him to sound.
That I've never actually used, but I know a lot of people appreciate at libraries, is that they have video game collections. You can go to a library and borrow a PlayStation game, an Xbox game, a Nintendo game without spending anything.
Okay, so yeah, that's exactly what he's looks and sounds like.
I'm literally just describing the dude. I don't know what else to tell you. So what I want to do in this video is look at some of this guy's past to show you why you cannot trust this guy, why this guy has always railed against gamers. He's always been anti-gamer. He's always been pro ugly women in games. And I want to analyze one of his recent videos where he just straight up lies about several things that he said. So let's go.
Before we do that, can we just take a second and admire the Jason Schreier thumbnail? Like he's trying to look like he's from 40-Year-Old Virgin or Step Brothers, right? this avatar down here ain't doing Jason Schreier a whole lot of justice here.
If you type Jason Schreier controversies into ChatGPT, you'll come up with a full list of everything that he's been embroiled in and everything that he's lied about the past couple years. But I want to start with this article he wrote for Kotaku in 2013, where he said, game developers really need to stop letting teenage boys design their characters. And then he said this: as you can see, the Sorceress was designed by a 14-year-old boy. Perhaps game development studios should stop hiring teenagers. At least they're cheap, I guess.
Just say this right now. If a 14-year-old boy designed that, pretty good. Pretty good. Just saying. Like, is the whole idea because she had, you know, is that why I was a 14-year-old boy? Or I don't know, maybe men just in general, whether, you know, from the age of 12 and on, just like boobs. I don't know.
Guys, again, this is what happens when you listen to a gay man for your video game reporting. They can't be trusted. And yeah, in response to some of the backlash that he got for this article, he then said this: why complain? Because it's embarrassing.
To who? Who was it embarrassing to? Please walk me through who it's embarrassing to. Around this time, 2013, 14, right? We saw this uprising where gaming changed dramatically. And you know what? Maybe there's something to what's being thrown down here from good old AndyPants Gaming, that this was, well, there have been a lot of, I don't know, fingers pointed at exact spots where gaming started to turn. Because look, I've been here this entire time, right? Since 2006, I've been aligned. I've seen the change, seen the cultural shift. And maybe Schreier, you know, past Kotaku, like I said, this is a thing. There may be something to this.
Because I wouldn't want to be seen playing it in public. Because I love Japanese games and Japanese RPGs, and I don't want them to perpetuate the ugly boys club mentality that has pervaded gaming for almost 3 decades now.
I'm so tired of this narrative. We've talked about this countless times. The propaganda from the ESA that gaming is 50% men, 50% women. Lies. That is total lies. That is garbo, man. If you factor in Candy Crush and the iPhone games, sure, absolutely. You can absolutely skew the stats your way. People who are buying games on your PlayStation 5, at the time, PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, that's not 50% women. I'm so tired of this narrative, and it has to be called out.
Yeah, guys, this dude is a leftist. He is a leftist lib cuck, and he has been against us, and he hates us. Yeah, don't ever listen to anything this guy says. And this was some shots from the game here. He also said on Twitter, this is back in 2020 when Cyberpunk came out, spoke to CD Projekt Red boss Marcin Owinski this week about Cyberpunk crunch, controversies over transgender issues, GOG layoffs, and a bunch of other things. Yeah, so this guy, guys, in case y'all are wondering why games are just dog shit, they're full of ugly women, they have terrible gameplay, and like nobody wants to buy video games right now, it is because of the seeds that were planted for 10 years by Kotaku, by IGN, by Jason Schreier, by Anita Sarkeesian, and all these people, dude. This is directly related to all of this. These people have poisoned the well. They've been ruining the video game industry forever. One of his more embarrassing...
Real quick, before we get onto this, there is a lot of truth to what he just said. The idea that if you are in the media and your job is to go in there and push your personal narrative, I think this is sexist. I don't like the way this sounds. I don't like the boys club. And you're going to these developers and saying, there's some transphobia here or whatever. They go, wow, this guy represents everybody. When in reality, they don't represent anybody but themselves. That is how personal agendas get pushed, and the narrative of this started in the first place.
Takes, though, was what Jason shred about Dragon Age Veilguard in 2024 when that game came out. So, as we know, the game was a $400 million flop. It had this cringe seed of the chick saying, so I'm non-binary. It had somebody doing push-ups for misgendering somebody.
Pulling a barb.
Nobody played it. As you can see from this chart here, Dragon Age is a huge franchise, and it lost $6 billion for EA.
And it'll never recover.
The funny thing about Jason Schreier was he had a tweet. So it looked like maybe Veilguard was going to do good at first. And so Jason tweeted this. He said, "Go woke, go top the charts," because I assume the game looked like it was going to do good at first.
Had he just waited like 2 hours, that would have changed dramatically.
But then he deleted that tweet, of course. And then a couple days later, he posted this: new EA is slashing its forecast for its fiscal year. So Jason did quite a 180 on that one. But with regard to the Veilguard controversy, he even admitted in a tweet, "I actually don't like the game very much, but I do like seeing you chuds get dunked on."
Oh my God. Listen, once again, this is the guy. This guy right here.
Oftentimes it's newish games that you can just get from a library.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate that.
This dude, for 30 or 40 years now of his entire pathetic life, has been railing against gamers and railing against the chuds. So I would never believe a word that comes out of this guy's mouth. And finally, for a very long time, he has been writing thousands of articles about crunch culture. He started back in 2018. Red Dead 2 came out. Here's an article from 2017 that he wrote. Video games are destroying the people who make them. And guys, need I remind you that Call of Duty 4 and Halo 3 had some of the most notorious crunch ever in video game studios. There were men sleeping at the office. And guys, here's my take on crunch. Stop being a fucking pussy and make the game. If you don't like crunch, quit. Stop being a pussy.
Not wrong. See this all the time. Like, who hasn't worked overtime before? If you're, let's just say you are in a salaried position. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had any sort of crunch in your office, in your profession, at any time in your career. Did you complain about it? Did you whine about it? Or did you just pull up your bootstraps and get to work and get it done? I know it sucks, especially as someone who's owned my own business for the better part of 20 years here. Sometimes work just needs to get done. It has to be done. And when you set a deadline, when you say this is going to be done by this date, it's your job to hit that deadline, because if you don't, you lose all credibility. You got to make that as good and as polished. And like, these guys have been working on this game for so long, they want it to be great by the time it's delivered. They want their name attached to it. And for it to be that great based off of the dates that were set, you got to put in some crunch. And he's right. If you don't like it, leave. There's the door. Get out.
My view is, yeah, dude, you work in video games. You're going to work 80 hours a week. You don't get both. You don't get to work in the coolest industry ever and get to go home at 5 p.m. I don't work in video games because I want to go home at 5 p.m. If I wanted to go home at 11 o'clock p.m. every night, I'd work in video games. So I have no sympathy for people who bitch and are pussies and complain about crunch culture. But yeah, guys, Schreier is literally the reason that games are bad now, because he was one of the main voices criticizing the companies who are doing this. And so my point in all this is that crunch is what makes good video games. Crunch is still what makes good video games. Crunch and small teams are how you make good video games. So basically, you can't trust a word this dude says in his new YouTube channel that he's pushing. And the dude is literally why this happened.
No, I'll stop there real quick. I don't know if crunch necessarily makes good video games, but there is several metaphors and phrases that reflect this, right? The idea of, pressure makes diamonds, deadlines makes deals, things like that, right? So there is truth to things getting done based off of a deadline and having a pressure environment. I know, once again, I can only speak for myself. I'm sure you guys can speak for those things as well, to where you've had pressure on you and you either make it happen or you fold up, right? And I bet you probably made something happen over here. That's what happens with games like Halo, Call of Duty. You know, I mean, those are two of the greatest games ever when it comes to it. And yeah, extra hours sometimes happen. It's a thing.
So, but another thing that I wanted to cover really quick is I wanted to respond to one of his videos that I watched. He had a video for why games now take 6 years to make. And he says 3 outright fabricated lies in this video that I wanted to address directly. Another point here, you might be asking, like, how has Jason Schreier gotten in so deep with companies? Why do companies let him have insider interviews? You know, Bethesda, everybody invites him to their studio to do a tour. And guys, it's because he is an activist and he's just like them, and he wants to spread their anti-white, anti-male, anti-American ideology. He's a gay communist just like all of them. So of course they're going to invite somebody into their company who wants to spread the same ideological disease that they want to spread.
He's actually 100% right. He's safe to them. By the way, he's speaking of Veilguard right there. I was on Timcast the other day, and after the show, there was a call-in segment. There was a developer that worked on Dragon Age Veilguard who's like, you have no idea how bad it truly was. I've been in contact with him. We're going to have, I'm going to ask several comments. I'll say, let me know what you would like to know, what I should ask him on behalf of you in the comments. If you have a Dragon Age Veilguard developer in front of you and you want to know what really happened, all the ins and outs, what would you ask them? Tell me down in the comments, because I will absolutely look at them and I will absolutely ask them.
So anyway, we're not going to watch this video. These are basically 3 direct quotes or 3 paraphrases of exactly what he says in this video. And I want to respond to them because I laughed out loud when he said these, because they're just complete lies. So why do games now take 6 years to make? Here's the first thing he said. Games cost so much to make now because graphical fidelity has increased so much the past 10 years.
My brain.
Let's think about that, guys. Let's think really hard about that. So Arkham Knight was developed by Rocksteady Studios, and it came out in 2015, and it cost $50 million to make. And I'm going to throw some of the gameplay footage up on the screen here. You know, I personally think Arkham City was the best series in the game in the series, but Arkham Knight has some of the most unbelievable graphics you've ever seen in a game, and it's 10 years old. Still to this date, it has some of the best graphics in a game. All right, same studio. Rocksteady Studios made Suicide Squad 9 years later.
Just think about that really quick. Think about how much was burnt down. How much was burnt down with it. And this goes back to that point of the studio made it. The company made it, not the same people made it. We fall guilty of this all the time as well. We say, oh, Bungie's making it, or hey, whatever, pick the developer. Oh, Retro Studios is making it. We love, they have a history of great games, but there's turnover. People leave those companies. So you fall in love with the idea of that company and those people making it, when in reality, half those people may not be there, or they may have moved on. They may have retired. They may have quit. They may have moved on and started their own company. Thus is the case in a situation like this.
Cost $200 million to make, cost 4 times as much as Dark Knight, and it made 0 money, and it looks like complete dog shit. It looks like this, guys. It looks like this. So Jason, boss. And for those of you who might blame inflation, $50 million with inflation would just be $70 million today. That's not how it works. $50 million doesn't turn into $200 million because of inflation. Jason will blame everyone but himself. He will blame everyone but the woke activists.
You see where this is going.
Trust this dude, because of course,
look at the teams.
When the blame comes to him, he's going to finger point at somebody else. Guys, we're getting down to it now. Here's the real reason. 2015. Rocksteady was all dudes. 2025, all troons, all women, all DEI hires, all diversity, people who couldn't code if their fucking life depended on it.
I'm sorry, just real quick. If you walk around on a day-to-day basis with a rainbow lanyard, I don't want you in my company. If you are so tied to where you want to put your privates that you need to showcase it on a lanyard, no interest, none.
I personally think that graphics peaked in 2016, and games cost a lot less to make in 2016. So Jason Schreier, explain that to me. Red Dead 2 and Tom Clancy's The Division are some of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. What are graphics like today? They're just Unreal Engine slop. This is Halo Infinite. Like, they look like complete dog water. Almost every game coming out today, now it might be in 4K, it might have higher resolution, but it actually looks like shit. Guys, the subtext here, Schreier won't tell you the real reason games cost more, and it's because of women and activists.
I think there are a lot of women who work in video games now compared to a decade ago now. And I think it's a result of great games that they may have played that they wanted to get a hold of that inspired them to want to be in the industry. With that said, the traditional way to get into the industry has always been through PR. People come in, they do public relations then they move on to something else, something that they really wanted to do. And I think that step may be skipped. I remember working with a girl in 2006, 2007, long time ago during Screw Attack, who worked at EA, and she wanted to be a developer, but she got her first steps as PR, talking about Madden of all things. She was really nice girl. But I think ultimately what happened was that was the barrier of entry to get in. And I don't know if that barrier of entry is there anymore. And I don't know if he's going to talk about this, but especially during COVID, because COVID was when mass hirings happened and the freaks busted down the fence.
And he has to be a Jew and hide it. He has to hide this obvious fact from everybody. And it's because all these women and all these trans people have been hired and they have no freaking idea how to code. So yeah, guys, this myth, games take 6 years to make because games cost so much to make now, or graphical fidelity has increased so much. It's just a lie. If anything, games have gotten worse looking. Explain this to me. Why do games look worse now and cost 4 times as much to make? So going on to Jason's next lie, he said games take 6 years to make because teams are bigger. Guys, explain this to me. In 1994, Final Fantasy III, incredible game, by the way, it was 30 dudes. 30 dudes made this game. Uncharted 2, incredible game, made a lot of money for Sony, won a bunch of awards, made by 85 people. And guys, this woke dog water, dog slop of Last of Us 2 came out in 2020, had a bunch of women on the team, and it was made by 2,000 people.
I just don't understand the idea. Like, at what point do you say, well, maybe we don't need a literal ton of people working on our game? Like, why don't we just maybe split that up into, I don't know, fourths and say 500 people are going to work on this game and 500 people are going to work. None of this math makes sense to me. 2,000 people, regardless of if they're men or women, doesn't make sense at all. I don't know how many people worked on GTA 6, when that comes out. I don't know. I'm sure it's probably upwards to that. I don't know, but it's going to deliver for sure. We know it's going to make several $1 billion in the first couple of days. Just from a management perspective, 2,000 people doing anything doesn't make sense, let alone, and I say something as simple as making a video game, which I know it's not simple at all. It just seems like way too many cooks in the kitchen.
I don't like bigger teams. I don't, hire less people. Don't hire as many people. I was playing Far Cry 6 the other day, and there's like 30 accessibility settings for Far Cry 6. Bro, nobody gives a shit about accessibility. Like, if you're
I would love to see
genuinely disabled, you've got trans people being like, I'm disabled. Like, yeah, okay, we know you're disabled, but I'm talking.
Remember, parents are also disabled. Remember that? That was the, what was that stupid girl's name? The one that came out and she said she was a writer and she said, being a parent is a disability. It's like, oh man, I just want to punch you in the ovaries in Minecraft.
About people who are genuinely disabled, quadriplegic, have lost their arms and legs. Those people are disabled. And I think those people do matter. But Far Cry 6 had like 30 accessibility settings, and all this money is just being invested on shit that people mostly don't care about.
You want to know who, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a link to this down. We understand where he's going with this, and I think these are all valid discussion points here from AndyPants Gaming. You know who truly needs the accessibility settings? A guy named Sean, who goes by HandyCapableGamer, or at least he used to, over on Twitch. If you've seen this guy, this is the guy that you need to see this dude, because he is unreal. This is what accessibility settings were made for. This guy is literally playing a game with his cheek and his freaking eyebrows, and he's beating Contra. There were no accessibility settings for Contra. Zero. It was a controller. It was a D-pad and 2 buttons, jump and shoot. And you know what? This guy right here beating the entire game with his chin and eyebrows. Find this guy over on Twitch. This guy's a stud. He doesn't need any accessibility settings. All right, there's a lot there. And I'll tell you what, regarding Jason Schreier, I think there's a lot of truth in that. I'll put a link down to Andy's channel. I'll put a link down to Sean's channel as well for you to check out. Awesome stuff. Appreciate you tuning in. If you'd like to see more of these standalone videos, more reaction videos like this, hit the subscribe button. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, and watch this video while you have an opportunity. Thanks, guys.